My shameless father is marrying the woman he started dating 2 weeks after my mother's death. Now, he's bawling because I am going on a trip instead. My father is going to marry his girlfriend next week, a day before my cousin's birthday. My mother died 4 years ago and almost 2 weeks later my father was dating with that woman. I was grieving and I had to tolerate a total stranger in the house. My father told me that he met that woman at work. The doubt that she has always been my father's mistress is always in my head, but I don't know. I don't like her anyways. My cousin organized a trip to the beach, which will last a week. It was given to her by my aunt and uncle because she won a scholarship overseas in a college. My aunt and uncle won't go to the wedding. Some of my other cousins won't go to the wedding to go to the trip too. My cousin arranged the trip entirely on purpose to ruin my father's wedding since my mother was her godmother. My father was mad at her, but my cousin told him that she's not going to cancel her trip for a second wedding, or in her literal words by text, "I'm much more interested in seeing the grass grow than in your wedding." He even cried, telling me that everyone is punishing him for finding love. I asked him if my mother wasn't the love of his life then, and he kept crying, saying that I don't understand because I'm too young. He says that every time I try to talk about something serious with him, even when I want to talk about politics or important things, it's his way of shutting me up. And he just finally found love. His words: he said his girlfriend is the real love of his life. Good for him, I guess. My mother always said he was the love of her life until the last day, and because of his words my mother was never the love of his life. I feel sad to think about how my mother would feel if she hear my father say that he finally found real love, when in my mother's eyes and words he was her soulmate. Can you really find the love of your life in 2 weeks? I understand that grief is different for everyone, but who grieves spending Christmas with your new girlfriend and not with your daughter who lost her mother? He neglected me since that. Even if I was a teen, everything was always about how he feels and wants. I told him that I will go on the trip and I don't want to attend his wedding, and he kept crying. My paternal grandmother called me to pray and tell me that I am being unfair to my father who just found love again, but I just don't want to go, neither be near to him. I stopped being close to my dad long time ago. That my perception of what a father figure is has been almost totally erased from my mind. I decided to talk to him again and ask if he cheated on my mother. I got really anxious and just needed to know the truth because it was something that made me feel really nervous. After insist and hearing him cry, he confessed to me that he had been talking and going to places with her for a while my mother was still alive, and even before she got sick. When my mother died, his girlfriend, at that time friend, approached him to comfort him. My father told me that it was the first time they had physical contact, but he always felt guilty about his friendship with that woman. I'm not very familiar with the subject, but I think it's what people calls emotional cheating. I only know that he kept it a secret because he knew he was doing something bad. I asked him if he and my mother were having marital problems, and he said no, not at all. According to my father, his friendship with his girlfriend was something he planned to keep as a secret forever when my mother was alive and healthy. Father told me that he thought he loved my mother until he kissed his girlfriend and decided that we only live once, so that's why he took her home just 2 weeks later after my mom died and did everything he wanted with her. My father's logic was that his job gave him a week of mourning, so according to him, 2 weeks was enough mourning for me. I told him that while he fulfilled his fantasies I was alone in our home. I asked him that if he thought about cutting off contact with his girlfriend if my mother found out, and he said something like, "No, I wouldn't cut contact with his girlfriend's name. It was just an innocent secret and your mother never found out." I told him my mother would cut off his balls if she heard him say that, and he started crying again. But anyway, all of this doesn't change anything. The result is still the same. A father who neglected his daughter. I said a lot of things to him. I've been going to the psychologist for years, so I know how to manage my feelings, but at that moment I told him everything I've been keeping to myself, and he cried again. Isn't that weird? Cry when you're the one who screwed up? I only feel bad for my mother and myself. For now, I warned him that I am going to rent the house to make money and cut off contact with him when he leaves the house with his girlfriend. He didn't complain about that because at least he always agreed that the house is mine. I'm not going to leave him homeless or anything like that. I'm not going to his wedding. I'm not going to invite him to my wedding in the future. I don't care if my future kids doesn't have a grandparent or anything like that. I think years ago I lost both parents, but luckily I have my family.